Good evening and welcome to another episode of Bubba's Garage. I hope you guys are having a fabulous day. For guys that have kind of showed up for our pre-show there on Facebook, thank you so much for sticking around. Guys, this is the after party right here on YouTube, and I'm not really sure exactly how much of an after party it is. We're still having water. But guys, today I wanted to come to you with somewhat of a Q&A. That probably sounds funny because it's really, we're just going to answer some questions and answers that you guys have actually had on our Runaway Venturist camper, our 6x8, as well as our galley build. But if you have a question that you would like for us to answer right here on Bubba's Garage, do me a favor. Send those comments along. Bobby and I will do the best that we can to answer those. We got a ton of specs, a ton of dimensions. And, well, a lot of things have been happening. If you haven't seen some of our Facebook and Instagram posts, I'm pretty pleased with the way that the galley build has turned out. Our last video right there on YouTube is the installation of the galley. I actually had to do things a little bit differently than I expected, but I think they turned out fairly well. What I actually have is the galley is about 35 inches deep inside of the Runaway Venturist. Roughly, what is it, babe? Roughly like 38 inches wide, maybe just a there shy. I forget how tall it was. We'll have to, babe, you check for that and see how tall it was. We actually had to drill 2 holes. We drilled 2 holes from that 2x2 frame on the very, very bottom of the Venturist. 2x2 frame, 2 inches deep. So we drilled holes all the way through that, and then through the brand new composite, and then up through our wood. And that was 1/2-inch wood that we actually used. I really wanted to go with aluminum. That is kind of the thing that we want to do, but it's a prototype, right? I've mentioned this in several of our episodes. It is a prototype. We're going to try it out if things pan out. And, you know, right here on Bubba's Garage, nothing is ever the same. We're going to want to change it up. We're going to want to make modifications to it. And when we do, they're going to be in aluminum. They're going to be in aluminum. But right now it's wood because, well, that's the best way I can. Guys, I don't know if you guys know this, but I can't weld aluminum. I really like to learn, but right now I just don't have time to learn. So we mounted that with two bolts through that frame. It actually worked out pretty good. It seems to work out really good. Now, you know, this whole COVID thing has got everybody locked in their little space in their little corner. So I guess we're going to probably go out and we're going to sleep in this thing out in the backyard. We do have a fire pit so we can roast our marshmallows and make some s'mores. But today's video, the purpose of this video is to kind of give you an opportunity to ask your questions. If you have any questions on the Venturist, or if you have any questions on the galley build, now's an opportunity to send those in. I'd really like to hear from you, hear your comments, and we'll do our best to answer them. Joe Mama, hey, what's going on? I hope you're doing well. Guys, you know, our galley, well, you tell them, babe.
Well, I actually found the galley is about 17 inches tall. Yeah. So the galley is about 17 inches tall. So add those dimensions together. And we actually have 2 slide out shelves. If you follow us on our previous videos and on YouTube, Instagram and Facebook, you've probably seen some of the pictures, but we have the 2 slide outs. So those are actually the same depth and width as the galley build. So they pull out and give you that extra space.
Yeah, I'd be really curious to hear what your guys are your thoughts on that whole 5-foot slide out. I mean, I did not intend for that slide out to reach out about 5 feet.
And it actually came out a lot bigger than I was picturing too. So it's actually kind of impressive how much room that gave us when you pull everything out.
right here on Bubba's Garage, we do the best we can, what we have. And sometimes we overdo things. And I think we did. And honestly, I think we did more than once.
And yeah, I was going to say, keep in mind, this final galley design that we're currently working on has evolved over the past, I don't know, almost 2 years now. So we've gone from different design to different design. But one of the things that we really, really, truly wanted to try and get to work in that is our 17-inch Blackstone griddle, so that we can have that on our trips to cook, and we don't have to worry about bringing a camp stove. And, we cook on it every day while we're at home. So why wouldn't we want to take it with us on our trip?
Yeah. So hopefully you guys noticed that in our previous episode. That was kind of the big thing that we were designing this entire galley around, is the 17-inch Blackstone griddle. It's sad, but it's true. I mean, it just makes cooking and cleaning and all that kind of stuff so much more convenient. But I kind of want to back up to something just a little bit, and that is, let us know what your questions, if you have any questions. But I want to go back to day one. If you guys have been following us right here on YouTube, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. We went on one heck of a journey to find the ultimate overlanding rig. I mean, we truly did. And if you look at some of the videos, you'll probably find that, there was a couple of depressing moments in there. I mean, we went to the Del Diamond, and baby, it was terrible. I mean, it really was terrible.
Yeah, we really didn't have a lot of options out there that fit what we were really looking for. We had a very specific type of rig that we were looking for. And well, that's pretty much us in just about everything that we want. We have this specific thing in mind. And so we go out on a limb and take the huge adventure to try and find it. And we looked at a few different rigs, but this, okay, more than a few. But out of all of those, this rig, the Runaway, actually fit what we were really looking to find.
Yeah, I want to kind of talk about that a little bit. And I don't know. I mean, if you're watching the replay, I greatly apologize. But, when you go back and you look at the journey that we took to find the ultimate overlanding rig, I mean, keep in mind, our requirements weren't that complicated. They were just really simple.
And that's what made it hard, is we didn't want a lot of complicated. We wanted something to sleep in and be able to open a door and cook our meals. We just wanted the basic, simple, no TVs, no microwaves, none of that other stuff that you don't need.
Yeah, I mean, our journey was really focused on finding a rig that 3 people can sleep in, and half decent. I mean, comfortable is a relative term. We just needed a rig that 3 of us could sleep in and had the opportunity to provide an outdoor galley. And you guys saw us. I mean, I'm not gonna. You know what? I am gonna name names. I'm not gonna hold the crap. I'm not gonna hold it. I mean, there's no reason for that. I mean, so we looked at the tag, right? I mean, they make a 6-wide tag. We looked at the Luna. They make a 6-wide Luna. We looked at what else did we look at? I mean, I think those were the big, huge ones here in Texas, right?
Yeah, I think those were the big ones in Texas. We also looked at the Bean. The Bean made some, but they weren't 6 wide. They had all the specifications. They were pretty simple. You can pick and choose your floor plan, as far as what you want in the galley area. But they were only 5 wide, so that kind of blew that out of the water for us.
Yeah, I mean, so back to that. We're looking for simplicity, right? And value for the money. And when you look at things like the Luna, or when you look at things like the Tag, one, you think the Runaway is tight. The Runaway is not nothing. It is not tight in comparison to a Luna or a Tag. But the Tag and the Luna have all these other things that you just don't need. You don't need. I mean, I don't need a microwave. I don't need a TV. Take that crap out, right? Give me the floor space. Let me do what I need to do. They did have something the Runaway didn't, and that was a galley. I don't even know if I want to call it a galley. I'll call it a countertop that they called a kitchen.
It was pretty much an outdoor kitchen that had a lot of stuff that you don't even need, and it was taking up a lot of space. That's where you found the microwaves. Yeah. You don't need a microwave. You're camping, you're not at home, so we didn't want the microwave. We just literally wanted something to put our griddle on and be able to cook with a little bit of counter space for, being able to cook.
Yeah, I mean, so Joe comments here and he says the Runaway is a good price and you can customize it the way you want. Was smart. You got the back door. Love the back door for loading and offloading. And I kind of want to hit on that. That is one of the biggest reasons why we picked the Runaway camper. I mean, let's look at it realistically. One, value for the money. You get what you need, but then can modify to fit your needs without all the extra bull crap. And I know I'm using those terms pretty extreme, but the fact of the matter is I don't need a built-in refrigerator. I don't need a microwave. I don't need a TV. And those things add price to most of your camper builds out there. And if you're looking for a sleeper, then the Runaway camper is the one that fits the need. And that is exactly why we chose to go with the Runaway camper. But more importantly, there's one other reason why we decided to pick Runaway camper. And that is the family that's behind the Runaway camper. Joe says, amen, brother. Thank you so much. Kevin says, how long from the time you placed the order for the Venturist until it was ready for pickup or delivery? Roughly about 6 weeks. It didn't really take that long. Now, we dragged ours out a little bit just because we were changing plans with some of our trips and things like that. So ours took a little bit longer, but
we were also trying to plan picking it up on a trip. So it was a little bit more waiting than I would suspect you would go through if you were just ordering one and going to pick it up.
Yeah, I mean, the typical wait time that they had us originally set up for was about 6 weeks. We had to change our plans. It took a little longer. And then the holidays came up. And then after the holidays, our plans ended up changing and we weren't able to go pick it up. So we just had it delivered. It just worked out a little bit better for us. But from what I understand, I haven't heard of any problems with their build times. And we ordered the Venturist, right? So we worked directly with Justin himself. That was really nice, being able to make a phone call or being able to send an email to Justin. And, that's kind of one of those things that I will mention, I was just talking about, and that was the last reason why we chose Runaway campers, and that is customer service. Not just customer service, but we believe in what the company has to stand for. And we believe that they'll stand behind their products. And it's just, when you reach out to someone, who is it that does the tags, New Camp or Intech, who makes the Luna, you're not gonna read. Come on, you're talking about an 800 number. You're going to get customer service. You're not going to talk to the owner. You're not going to talk to people who truly, truly care about the product. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to nix those people. I'm not trying to knock them. What I'm trying to say is that I think there's a lot of pride. We own our own businesses right here on Bubba's Garage as well. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I sign every single order that ever comes through BubbasGarageTv. Now, I'm not gonna lie, that takes me a lot of time, but that's important to me. And with the Shives, every order is important to them. And I think that stands for something, right? So that's our journey. I mean, that's why we picked those. That's why we picked the Runaway. Joe says we got the galley shelf for storage. Oh, awesome. We were curious about that. We cook outside. I mounted a small TV on the inside of the galley shelf, and going to put a cargo net on either side of the TV. Sweet, smart thinking. You know, we debated on the galley shelf. We did. It was a tough.
We
tough
talked
decision.
about it for a little while because we weren't at that point. We weren't sure about how we wanted our galley to be designed because we were kind of during our talks before we received our Runaway, or before we even decided to go ahead and let's get it ordered. We were still trying to decide on that design because we were trying to fit 3 people back there. So we were not only trying to get the galley, but we're also trying to make it somewhat comfortable for us to be able to all climb in there, especially with boondocking and stuff like that. You know, with campsites, you know, you can still set up a tent, but with boondocking, you really need to all be able to get in there and not just, depending on what the circumstances is, not just go get in there and go to bed, but maybe even you'll be spending some time in there. Yeah. And, you know, that was kind of one of our big things.
Yeah. You know, you hinted, babe, on the fitting 3 people, and we've got a lot of questions on that. And I greatly apologize. We haven't hit too many questions. But that was a question that we get asked a lot right now. And that is, can you fit 3 people inside of that 6x8 Runaway? And keep in mind,
we asked that a lot too.
More than a lot. We actually did a lot of research on it and had a really hard time finding the information we were looking for. We went based on the specs of the camper itself, and that's how we were able to determine what we could and we could not do. But let's just hit on that really quick because I think that's a very important component. A 6x8, you can fit 3 people in it. Now, come on, guys. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, you're not going to be cozy. It's not home. You're not going to have a walkway on the entrance. You're not going to have a foyer. You're not going to have but can you sleep 3 people on the inside of the box? Keep in mind, without the galley in there, absolutely you can. Now, if you're 6 foot or over 6 foot, that might change things. Keep in mind, I am 5'6". Bobbie is 5'7", and Shelby is just a little over 5 feet. We're able to fit lengthwise, or how do I say that? Lengthwise, longwise. We are able to rotate either way.
Side to side or front to back. Yeah. Either way, we could lay in there comfortably, without the galley in there.
Yep. And so what we decided to do is to sleep lengthwise, door to door. Bobbie and I will take the ground floor right at the door entrance. And right above the galley, we have that little 5-inch section that we call the spice rack. That's on the outside of that galley door. But on the other side of that is about 30 inches width that we have a bunk that's going to go across there. I'm going to get you videos here really soon. We haven't finished that part of it just yet, but that's Shelby's going to be able to crawl up there and go to sleep. But then on the inside, if you look at our last video, that gives us like 2 cubby holes, like on both sides, right? So we got our dog, Odie. You got to take him with you. So he's going to have a little nap area, and then we got a place for our gear and stuff like that. Excuse me. So, Kevin says Justin is good people along with the entire family. That's why they're getting my money for a Venturist instead of another company where you're just a number to them. Spot on. I mean, you said it better than I could have ever said it. And that is exactly one of the biggest reasons why it just, I'm not going to lie. When we did the research, we checked a lot of things out. It was tough in the very beginning because we looked at some of the amenities that we'd be getting from other, like the Luna or the Tag and things like that, like built-in water and things. But when you figure how much money you're paying for all of that stuff, and then the fact that you're going to have to go through a dealer, that's third party. I've been following the Shabs for many, many years prior to even purchasing the rig that we did. And man, Steve gets on there and he does his videos, and his videos are heartfelt. They're true to the heart. They mean something. And that meant the world to me. And I told Bobbie, a long time ago when we talked about it, it's like, look, I know we got our specifications, but we need to find a way to do business with this company. They're phenomenal people. And if they have a problem, they're not afraid to admit it. right? I mean, they're,
and that's kind of what I was fixing to say is you can see the amount of pride that they take into every single camper that leaves their lot, just by the way, their customer service, you know, they're there to take care of you. It's not like you were talking about, you know, any other company you would be calling a customer service line. They actually say, give me a call, you know, they send me a text message, we'll get it taken care of for you.
yeah. And, you know, I just brought up this topic right here on the page there. It says, why buy a runaway camper? Hopefully that answers your question. I mean, why not? Why not? If you're looking for a sleeper without all the crap in it, value for the money, you're going to get what you need. And that's another thing. I mean, keep in mind, you know, we've been throwing these names out, the Luna and the Tag, quite a bit. And so for those manufacturers, I greatly apologize, but this is not a sponsored video. So fact of the matter is, what I'm trying to say is that they're twice as expensive. They're twice the price. And you're lucky if you can get 3 people in either one of them. So,
yeah. I was just going to say, you know, they're twice as expensive, but for a lot of people also, you're paying for a lot of stuff that you don't want. Where with Runaway, they basically give you the shell, you know, they don't overcharge. They don't, you know, try to upsell you. They will make it for you however you want. And the value for the money, not just the value for the money, but you're also looking at, you know, people being able to tow campers. A lot of people, they'll go out and they'll have to buy a truck just to be able to get a camper, where the Runaways, you can actually pull with just about any vehicles, from, you know, their Venturist series all the way down to their Slice, which is made to be pulled with a motorcycle.
yeah. And, you know, so let's talk about that. How many of you guys out there have the new 2020 Runaway camper? I'd be really curious to hear from you if you have the 2020 Runaway. It is different. It is different. That composite material is definitely different. Let's switching gears real fast is let's see, Fire Pilgrim. Am I saying that right? Is the main difference between the Venturist and the Range Runner, their 3,500 pound Dexter axle versus the Timbren and round versus flat fenders. Yeah, so let's talk about that real quick. That's a great question. Mostly yes, but let's go into that a little bit more in detail. One of the most important things is not just the Timbren axle, not just the fenders. And I don't know if you guys have seen this, but those fenders are phenomenal. You can stand on those fenders, and they're not little. They're not like 8 inches wide. Babe, what are the, do we have the,
we measured them. They're about 12 inches deep, each one.
Yeah. So there's a big, huge platform there for you to stand on. So fenders are phenomenal. But it's a little bit more, the frame itself is completely solid. It's not the same. 2x2 supports all the way down, across the side, but that long, the entire neck that runs down the trailer is an entire tube, completely. And they're not, from my understanding, that is now standard on the Venturist. But here's one other thing that you're probably not going to hear a lot about. And this was very important to us. We've been talking about our debate between different campers, between Tags and Lunas and stuff like that. And that is brakes. Now I get it. These things are light. Most of the time you don't need brakes, but let me tell you something. If you're pulling with a small vehicle, we're pulling with a Jeep, and you're going up a bunch of hills in the mountains and things like that, brakes, you may not have to have them, but they're greatly beneficial. The Venturist, that is completely set up with brakes. So that's a huge bonus. But let's take it one step further. You can get the lug pattern set up for your vehicle. If they can do it, they'll make it happen. There's no extra charge for that. That is phenomenal. So you're paying for that ground clearance. And by the way, that ground clearance is pretty phenomenal. But you're also getting those additional bonuses. Now, the rear door doesn't come with it. Things like the roof rack doesn't come with it. I believe, and y'all probably need to check out with Justin just to be sure, but I believe that rack on the front comes with it, right, babe?
Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah, so Kevin says, what's it like to work with the composite materials as far as drilling and attaching components? Kevin, phenomenal question. Totally different. Totally different. Don't get me wrong, with wood, you can make a lot of things happen fairly easy, and it's more forgiving. But depending on what you're doing, I will give you a secret that we have right here on Bubba's Garage. We haven't really talked about this too much on our videos, and I hope to soon, but we're running some tests. We actually took some heavy-duty Velcro, and we attached it to the doors, and we attached it on the inside. And if you follow us right here on Bubba's Garage, we actually manufacture MOLLE panels with MOLLE bags and things like that. And we've sewn a Velcro strip onto those panels and attached them to the walls in two different spots. If you go back and look at some of the pictures or photos, you probably might get a sneak peek of it. They're staying attached just with stick-on heavy-duty Velcro. Now, I haven't put a lot of weight on those panels yet, but I'm going to test that out, and they're holding up really well. Now, let's talk about drilling in through the composite for the galley. I did have to drill through that. It was, number one, it was really easy to drill through. And it's kind of like corrugated. It's corrugated, so you have the little deals in it with some plastic pieces and things like that in it. So it's somewhat, I don't want to say it's insulated because it's probably not, but it's corrugated. Right, babe? I mean,
yeah, it's literally what they described. It's like a honeycomb. It's hollow except for the corrugation, just like you would see like on a cardboard box. When you look from the side, you'll see the two flat strips and then the corrugated all the way through it. It's similar to that. So it's not a solid piece of plastic.
Yeah, so you're not gonna want to put nails in it. If you have the right screw, maybe you'll be okay, but I'd definitely be smart about the screws. So drilling holes into it, I went all the way through it. So I put a heavy duty washer on top, big fat washer on top, and a big one on the bottom just to kind of secure that. Now, if you notice in that video, we plan on doing the 5-pound, I believe it is, side mount propane tank. So hopefully I'll get a little bit more footage on that. I'll have to drill all the way through the wall, but I think that's where you have to reinforce things. In that case, I think I'm going to be pretty safe because you're going to mount it, you're going to drill all the way through it, and you're going to put a large washer on this side, a large washer on that side, and bring it together. The trick comes into when you're actually making and attaching things on the inside. I mean, if I was going to be building shelves along the front, which I see a lot of people doing, where they build shelves in when you open the door, the first thing you see is all the shelves right there underneath the air conditioner and stuff like that. I think if I was doing that, man, I really don't know what I would do, to be honest with you.
And that's kind of one of the reasons that we came up with this final design for our galley, is because we were really intimidated in trying to attach anything from the outside or the inside where the composite is being used for the main support for whatever we were trying to attach. Seeing the material, feeling the material, and seeing the way that they put, like, even just that one shelf up inside at the very front, they actually had some supports through there that they used to put the screws through to support that. So to me, I would feel a little intimidated with relying on the composite to be a permanent attachment without some kind of support. And on the Venturist, at least the Venturist series, when you look on the inside, you'll see the same kind of hardware that we're talking about that they used on the fenders themselves to give them support. It's a big fat washer with some bolts and nuts.
So Kevin mentioned something just a minute ago, and I think that was on topic with exactly what you're talking about, babe. And Kevin says you could probably run a thin piece of aluminum up the inside to help reinforce the mount points as well. I want to go into detail a little bit with this. I want to go too much into detail. I'm not sure exactly what you mean, Kevin, by when you say run a thin piece of aluminum up the inside, because if you're talking about the composite material, let's say it's roughly almost, it's like a little over ½ inch. You're not going to be able to run anything on the inside of that. However, continuing with that same topic, that shelf that Bobbie was talking about that's above the air conditioner, it's actually framed. So think about taking a piece of composite and cutting it down the width of your camper and the depth that you need it, and then frame it out with aluminum channel, and then take that channel and mount that in, because there are some sort of they're like they're self-tapping screws, but they're probably different type of self-tapping screws that I'm thinking about in my head, that they drilled into the plastic. And I guarantee you they didn't over drill those, because they would have stripped them out in 10 seconds. But they built that composite and then set that in that shelf. They put the deal on they turn around and stuck it in there, and they have little angle brackets, and they just kind of zipped them in all the way into the back, and then on the outsides to kind of keep them in place. And that worked out really good. So Kevin, you were saying on the inside of the wall, yeah, I'm not sure how you do that, unfortunately. I greatly apologize. That composite, the way it's corrugated so much so that it's not like 1 inch or 2 inch corrugates, if that makes any sense. So putting something up in there for support would be quite challenging, because it's literally, I'll get a picture tomorrow and I'll post it on our Facebook page, so that you can kind of see exactly how tight that is. It's literally really tight in there. You're not going to have a lot of room. Now, you could drill like in a house, maybe drill a hole and you can stick something up in the wall. But these things are, babe, what are they, like 1/4 inch? They're not very wide. The corrugates are very small.
I think corrugation is kind of the wrong word for it. It's more like 2 flat pieces of plastic that have almost like a double checkerboard running down the center of them. And those squares in the checkerboard are probably only about 1/4 inch for each square, 1/4 by 1/4. So to be able to put aluminum or any kind of metal down into the wall, I'd almost see you kind of tearing up that checkerboard corrugation on the inside of the composite material.
Yeah. Kevin clarified himself there, babe. So he's basically saying take a strip of aluminum and attach it using those washers. Basically use that piece of aluminum on the inside as the support brace. And that's exactly what Runaway did with that top shelf. And it worked out really well. I don't really have any concerns making modifications to the composite. But I do think you would definitely have to plan accordingly and do things differently. And if I had to build something for the front, yeah. So Kevin says exactly. So yeah. Okay. So we're on the same page. I think if I was to build shelves and cabinets and things like that for the front of that thing, the best thing I could come up with is build it where it fits. Make it self-contained. Don't rely on the structure for your support, and put it in there where it fits nice and tight. And I don't think you're going to have any problems. I don't think you're going to have any problems at all. I mean, honestly, with the galley build that we did, I really didn't want to have to mount it. I was hoping to just kind of set it there and be done with it.
The only reason that we did do the design that way and mount it the way we did is because we knew that the slide outs were going to be holding a lot of weight, and we didn't want to have anything tear or pull too much. I mean, a 17-inch Blackstone griddle alone is about 30 pounds, much less any other materials or anything that we have in there. You know, we've built that. We're building a chuck. What do we call it? Chuck box. We built chuck box for it. Excuse me. I'm trying to get this out. That's going to be full of different materials that we need, you know, utensils and spices and canned goods and everything like that. We were more worried about the leverage of having it rip up from the bottom of the camper much more than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, when that slide comes out every bit of 5 feet, it's a little bit scary. Yeah, I don't think we're going to have any problems with it. But, you know, think about it. When you're coming out that far, you have a lot of weight on that tail end that's going to be picking up your galley box itself and weighing in on that. So we decided to mount it, and you guys saw the video. I mean, we designed this thing in Legos on purpose because we do have intentions and plans to change it. Our plans this year is to circle around the United States. I will tell you, if you haven't heard already, that plan is slightly delayed due to the things that are going on around the nation. But we do plan on still taking a trip all the way around the United States, all the way just south of Canada, and then back down. When we do that, we'll be able to test this thing out a little bit more and know what it is that we want to change or not want to change. Kevin says, I'm thinking of mounting items on the outside of the trailer, like for a propane tank holder, so that the attachment points through the walls have added support on the inside. Phenomenal idea. Honestly, you know, Kevin, take that a step further. When you plan that mount, how can you use the inside mounting point? Think about, I've already thought about this. So I'm going to share it with you, Kevin. When you mount the propane mount on the outside, plan on adding some sort of hook or fastener on the inside, because you got to add a big washer on the inside anyway, right? So add some sort of washer or build a washer with some sort of hook or something, or a angle bracket, so that you can use that for reinforcements later on the inside. That's kind of what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and plan for the propane mount on the outside, and we're going to use the mounts that are on the inside for additional accessories and things like that. Joe says, maybe put a fold down leg on the end of the table for support.
And, you know, Joe, I've actually talked about doing this on several occasions on our many ventures and design ideas for this galley. I talked about putting down one of those legs. The only thing was we really wanted it to be self-suspended. And so our design actually worked out fairly well, because each of the drawer or each of the slide outs are sitting on rails that are made to support up to 250 pounds. So having that, we decided to go with actually drilling through the composite through the frame and bolting it down, so that there wasn't any question at all.
Yeah, but we did plan for the fact that if you notice, if you go back and look at the video, there's about 1.5 inches underneath that galley drawer. Because if we had to, and we still might, babe, we don't know that. We haven't really decked it out and tested it, that we might have to run those poles. And so if we need to, we definitely will be doing that. Get some like telescoping poles so that you can fluctuate with the terrain. But I want to get through a couple of comments. We have a lot of comments here, so I want to kind of call these comments out real quick and see if we can get through them. So Kevin says that way the bolts don't get ripped through the wall. Yeah, the big washers and things like that. Well, yeah, because if you didn't have the washers, then you risk everything coming out. So it adds more rigidity to the actual component that you're actually mounting. And I believe we had another comment here. How does a Runaway mount their optional LP propane tank? We are going to look at buying the mount from Runaway. We did check other sources, but look, I'm just going to support Runaway. That's just the way I feel about it. But that mount is actually done the same exact way. So if you go back and you look at videos, and if you guys need me to get some videos on this, let me know. But the propane mount would be mounted the exact same way they did on the fenders. And man, let me tell you, those fenders are stout, y'all. They do have the huge washers that go through the fender all the way through the wall, and they got huge washers there. But they do add extra support on the fenders, because there's a piece of 2x2 that runs across the frame that comes out, and the fenders actually mount on both sides of that as well. But they're all mounted the exact same way. Looks like a pretty good design for the most part. Kevin answered that comment. Thank you. Yeah, we plan on doing that because you saw the griddle and how we have it mounted. I really want to do the 5-pound. My only problem is with 5-pound is I hate to have to go fill it up. Where we are at, you can get it filled up, but it's a pain in the butt. I'd really like to run a 20. I could run a hose all the way to the front, but I think we're going to do the mount. It'll save space, and it looks good the way it's set up. 200-pound should work. I might have missed a comment there, Joe, so I greatly apologize for that. Yeah, Joe says, I hear you about the plans. The virus ruined our trip from Florida to Oregon. Wow, we probably would have crossed paths.
Wow, yeah, we probably would have.
Yeah, we probably would have. You know, guys, keep us posted. You know, send some comments on our go. If you don't feel like sharing it publicly on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or any of that other kind of stuff, you know, reach out on our website at BubbasGarageTv. Send us some comments every once in a while about your trip plans, because if we do cross paths, we'd definitely like to meet up. Now, guys, we still do have plans on meeting up in Texas Expo this October. If things don't change, we will have our rig there and everything else. So definitely keep your eyes out for that. If you're going to be in the area and want to meet up, we plan on being there. So check that out. Guys, I want to say thank you guys so much for sticking out with us right here on this YouTube live stream. We'd like to do more of these things and chat a little bit more, but we're getting close to our time. We're going to wrap this up. We did have a pre-show on Facebook. It was a different topic. We're going to try to do different topics on Facebook than we do on YouTube, just kind of change things up. If you guys want to check out those, they are 1 hour earlier. So we did that one at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. This one we launched up at 7. We want to do these at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time every Friday night. So if that's something you guys want to be a part of, definitely check it out. We'll be posting those midweek every week for those topics. And more importantly, if you want us to talk about a specific topic right here on Bubba's Garage, reach out on BubbasGarageTv. We have a contact page there. Send us a comment, or if you want to be a guest on those, then definitely let us know. We'd love to have you as a guest on these shows. Kevin says, I'd like to mount the 20-pound tanks up front so they have the additional port like the tradition. I would agree with you. I'm debating on that, but I'm not sure just yet, because we want to put a big box on the front, right, babe? And I don't know if I want the tank to take up the space, you know, for things like chairs and things like that. That box would work out fairly well.
That's definitely still in debate stage with us, and definitely, you know, stay tuned and keep in touch through Facebook and Instagram to find out what we decide to do. But yeah, we're kind of on the same page, but we're kind of intimidated about that because of the space.
Okay, so I have to let Joe get this answered, babe. So Joe had one last question, and we're going to stick around just so that we can answer this question. This is very important. So Joe says, I noticed an Air Force flag in your backyard in your grill video. You have Air Force vet. Babe, I'm going to let you answer this question.
I am an Air Force vet. I was in the Air Force for 6 years, stationed at Langley Air Force Base.
Yeah, and that's very important to us. As a matter of fact, we need to get new flags right now. We usually run a United States flag, a Texas flag, and the Air Force flag. So we'll be looking at updating those. They've kind of had a lot of airtime, so it's time to upgrade. But yes, Bobbie was in the United States Air Force. That's a big part of our family. It's very important. A lot of her family's been in the military, my family as well. I'm not going to lie, I was not in the military. So that's all them. And for that, we owe them a lot of respect. So, Joe, thank you for calling that out. I really appreciate it. Kevin, United States Marine, thank you for your service. Really appreciate it. Too many options. Kevin also says too many options. There's never going to be an end to the options that we're going to have, right? So, I look forward to the changes that we're going to make to our Runaway, as well as the changes that we make to, to our rigs. And, as you guys notice on our rigs and things like that, we don't go too extreme. We do what we need to do to make things work. So we do have 1, 2, 3 additional modifications that we plan to make to the Runaway. But the most important thing was that galley build. That was like our huge thing. That's where we eat. We could care less how we're going to sleep. I mean, that's real simple. We're going to get in there. We're going to go to sleep. It just, when you're out boondocking, you just need to crawl in and go to sleep. when you're out overlanding and things like that, you're going to actually be out enjoying the site and things like that. So we're going to put a big, huge awning on the top. Just a hint real up front, it is definitely not going to be a bat wing, unfortunately. So stick around for that. Last comment here says, Joe says, thanks for your service, sister. That's all you. Wife and I are both Navy vets. Wow, awesome. Thank you so much for your service. That's phenomenal. I'm glad to see that we have a lot of vets here tonight. That's truly awesome. Thank you all for your service. And again, thank you all so much for sticking around for this live stream. Truly means a lot to us right here on Bubba's Garage. Like I said, we're going to do these once every Friday night at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. So definitely be keeping your eyes out for that. So with that said, I think we're going to wrap up this video right here tonight. Guys, if you like this video, do me a favor. Please click the crap out of the like button. And if you really like this video and you want to stick around to find out what happens next right here on Bubba's Garage, do me a favor. Subscribe. And until next time, we'll see you on the flip side. Good night, everybody.
Good night.